There you go.
This afternoon, we're interviewing Otis Leroy Purtee. We are located in Springmead Retirement Center in Tip City, Ohio. And today is March the 28th, 2013. Leroy was in the United States Navy during the Second World War, 1943 to 1946. He achieved the rank of Yeoman Second Class. His primary duties when he was in the service was office duties. During the Second World War, he was located in the Pacific in Hawaii most of the time. He received a couple medals as his service in there, and today we are doing this interview for the Miami County Veterans History Project, the Library of Congress Veterans History Project, sponsored by American Legion Post 43 in Troy, Ohio. My name is Robert J. Shook, assisted by Paul Holt. This interview is taking place at the Springmead Retirement Center in Tip City, Ohio. Leroy, nice meeting you. Good having you here.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing your story, and I know your grandson's going to enjoy it tremendously. So as you go through, I'd like for you to start right from the beginning, where you're born, a little bit about your family, and your dates you were born, and then where in the schooling, and then getting on to the military service. Would you start there for me, Leroy, please?
Yes, I was born September 13 in Gettysburg, Ohio. I was the top of 5 children. There's me and 3 sisters, and then my little brother. He was in the Air Force. Let's see.
Was he in the Army Air Force?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In those days, the Air Force was attached to each Navy, Marines, whatever it might be. It was.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a long time ago.
Well, yes.
Anyhow, I got a job. I was hired with Delco Products Division of General Motors in Dayton. They sent me to engineering college at Flint, Michigan. It was called General Motors Institute of Technology in those days. It's now called, it's called something else now.
Well, now this is, you graduated from high school in Gettysburg,
Yes,
and then you went to this Delco, and they sent you to school.
yes,
Good.
yes.
And what year was this?
1941.
1941. All
I
right.
graduated from high school in 41. That autumn, I started up at GMI, and
What were you studying there?
engineering.
Engineering?
Yeah, I had a year and a half of that, and then I was drafted and went to Greenville, the draft board, because they wouldn't. I thought being an engineer, I'd get a deferment. Nah, I was drafted.
This is 1943. What month?
April, I think.
April? Okay.
I'm not real sure,
That's all right.
but it is the spring of '43.
Okay.
And I went to Greenville. They loaded me on a bus and took me to Cincinnati. And they put me up. They boarded us out, 2 or 3 of us. Oh, I was drafted with the Jim Wellbaum from Bradford and Roger Shepard from Greenville. And another man, I can't remember his name, from New Madison.
Mm-hmm.
There were a bunch of us, but those 3 I remember. And we went to Cincinnati, and they put us in, I don't know, private room. Anyhow, I ended up spending a night or 2 in a ladies' tea room down there.
Tea room?
Yeah.
Not a hotel?
No,
Oh.
no, I don't know. I don't know how we ended up. That's just where they put me. So I was there a couple of days, and then they put me on. I can't remember. Anyhow, they shipped me to Great Lakes, Illinois.
Okay, so you were inducted in Cincinnati then.
I guess so.
And well, you had your physical and all that stuff there?
Yes,
And
Yes.
so that's the first time you really with a group of people then, the military, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
so
Right.
now they ship you to Great Lakes. How'd you get up there? Bus, train?
I think a train.
Okay,
I don't know.
probably the train.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of reception did you get when you arrived?
Gosh, I don't know.
Were they nice to you and friendly and?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I guess they had a bunch of green stuff to work with, and they were glad to get that, I suppose. Anyhow, I forget how I made one or two liberties from Great Lakes. I think we went, can't remember.
Well, let's go back a minute. When you arrived at Great Lakes, they put you all in barracks, wooden barracks or temporary, or would you have nice housing?
No, we were in barracks. It was nice housing, yes, but we were in barracks. We were on the second floor, and lots and lots of bunks. Too high, I think. I think I was in a top bunk.
Mm-hmm. And then they give you a haircut or anything?
Oh my, yes.
What was that like?
That was a sad day.
Did they-
Everything goes off, geez. Yeah,
Instant baldness, huh?
yeah. Yeah.
Well, how about the uniforms?
Well, you went down the line, they just look at you and throw something at you. I guess they could tell from looking at you what size you wore. I don't know. But now they just heap this clothes at you, and dungarees and a couple of shirts, and I don't know, somehow we eventually, I don't know where I got, we had a canvas sea bag, they called it. You kept everything in your sea bag. And
Well, tell me this, is that when so you're all living together, this is the first time you've ever been out of town like this?
well, no, I had a year and a half of college
Okay, all
in
right.
Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, that's right. You were from
Yeah.
Michigan.
Yeah.
So you've been away from home, so
Yeah.
it wasn't real strange. Well, what was it like living with a bunch of guys?
Oh, it was kind of fun, really.
Did you have to pull any special kind of duties, like KP or guard duty, or?
I don't remember KP. I remember guard duty. I remember when he was really a chief petty officer, but he was our superior officer. When he walked into the barracks, I was standing guard, and you're supposed to yell attention. Well, he got so far in before I even noticed it. I didn't yell attention. He corrected me on the way out.
I suspect he probably worked you over pretty good, didn't he, huh?
Yeah, well, I was little, so they took pity on me. Yeah.
Well, what
Back-
kind of training did you get?
Well, from Great Lakes,
I mean, what did they train you up in Great Lakes? What kind of training? Did you have a
just
classroom
close
and
order drill.
drill?
It's about the only thing I remember from there.
Did you teach anything about weapons? Did you fire any kind of weapons or anything? Rifles, machine guns?
I don't think so. Not in basic training.
Okay.
No, don't think so. Just close order drill. We had some kid from Kentucky. I forgotten his name, but he couldn't tell right from left. Man, did he screw up the close order drill. I could probably think of his name if I concentrated. But so from there, then, well, I guess they decided, because I had some engineering background, I was going to be a diesel mechanic in the amphibious corps. So they sent me down by train to the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. We got in, we came down from train from Great Lakes to Champaign-Urbana. We got in there, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning. It was after night, because I think they kept that stuff on the quiet, how much we was moving around. Anyhow, we marched about, I presume, a mile out to the campus. And we're in this building, 2 o'clock in the morning. We're all in what later turned out, I think, was the dining room for that building. They got us all of us in there, and some sergeant or somebody was talking to us. And his main concern was he had a billy stick, and he was showing us how to use the condom. That was extremely important. You got to know how to use a condom. So he's showing us with a billy stick how you do a condom. So then, so we went to, they had several diesel engines on the campus there, and we went to diesel school to learn how to repair diesels and the principles. And I remember we did the engines, General Motors in those days built a diesel injector. It was rather unique. It was a single unit job. A lot of them had to pump separate and pumped at high pressure into a nozzle. This was all in one. The camshaft would come down, activate it. That would put the diesel fuel under pressure and squirt it into the chain. Anyhow, we had to disassemble that and put it all back together. That was part of the test that you had to pass. You had to assemble that together. And let's see. I think that's the main thing.
Well, how long were you there at that Champaign, Illinois?
3 months, I think.
3 months?
I think so.
And then when you were there, they put you in dormitories with students?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then where'd you go from there?
Then I went shipped by train out to San Diego. Some more diesel school there.
Now, this would have been 1943?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember on the way out, we had a Pullman, I guess you'd call it. We rode on a Pullman train as if we were civilians. And I remember going to bed one night. I was in the upper bunk, and somebody said, "Now we'll be going through a tunnel on the way out to the West Coast." Well, the train was hot, so I opened the window when I went to bed. I woke up the next morning, we was all covered with soot and everything. Anyhow, I got into
That's still when they had steam engines.
Oh yeah, we had a colored porter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he didn't tell us not to open the windows.
That old coal smoke got to you, huh?
Yeah. I remember riding out through, I think it was Montana, Wyoming. Seemed to me we went the northern route. I'm not real sure, but we just saw lots of nothing. Just nothing. Road day. I think it took us, I think we were aboard train. I think we were on board 2 nights, I think. And then we came in, I think we went into San Francisco. Came down and curled up into San Francisco. And I think that must be where they sent me then, to San Diego.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And we were down in San Diego.
Now,
Can't remember what the area in San Diego was called. I want to say Treasure Island, but I don't think that's right.
well, what did you do? What did they send you to San Diego for? More training?
More training,
Diesel?
diesel engine,
Okay.
and aircraft recognition. So if the enemy flew planes over, we could identify them.
Okay.
And I think we learned semaphore. And then in San Diego, I had a real distant cousin in whatever that area is, right on the ocean nearby. That was a relative out of my grandmother's side up in Detroit. Anyhow, I think her given name was Aloha. 'Cause I got a sister named Aloha too. And we went out to her. She had me out for dinner one night, and they had a recorder. They wanted me to record a message to send back to my home. It was a wire recorder, I think, in those days. Well, I clammed up and I couldn't think of anything to say. So they did a little talking, and I didn't say anything.
So, but she was a cousin,
A distant,
distant cousin, yeah.
far out. They were related to he was a Detroit policeman. Simon Biggs, Simon Boggs, I don't know. Anyhow, it was part of his family. I don't know.
Well, how long were you in San Diego now?
Probably 3 months, I don't remember.
Okay. Well, then, now you're finished in San Diego. Did you graduate? Are you now a diesel person, or?
I completed the course, yes.
Okay. And then shipped you where then?
We went up to San Francisco to go overseas, to catch a ship overseas. And I think I went up to Treasure Island, spent a couple of days. Then we boarded a sub-tender to go to overseas. And I remember going out through Golden Gate. Yeah, and I got seasick. It didn't hurt, but I had to stay on deck where the air was fresh. And
Well, how many sailors were on board? How many troops were on board? Was it a lot of people on board?
well, I don't know. I
Well,
don't think there was a lot.
Well, you slept down below in the hold, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
And you have hammocks, slinging hammocks.
yeah.
How many people were stacked in a row? 2 or 3?
I think 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and it was that didn't help the seasick part. Did it?
What was the name of the ship? Do you remember?
No, I have no idea.
Okay.
But I believe it was a sub-tender.
Okay.
It wasn't a troop ship.
And then you sailed to Hawaii, right?
We went to Hawaii, went to YPO.
Well, how long a day? How long a ship? 3 or 4 days at sea?
I think 4 days.
4 days. Okay.
Yeah. We landed at YPO, which was kind of a receiving center.
And on Hawaii.
Yeah, it was all dirt and tents, and it was there. Gosh, this is so long ago.
Well, so you're doing fine.
You're
now.
fine.
But so this is what time? This is now still 1943. Must have been probably what?
This was in 44.
44, early 44.
Yeah,
Maybe like February, January, February.
yeah, I would imagine.
And so now you're in Hawaii.
Yeah,
And so you're a diesel corpsman, right?
yeah, yeah.
It's-
We had been assigned. My coxswain was Bill Moore from Texas. I had 2 deckhands, Arky and Okie. Barnett was from either Arkansas or Oklahoma, and Barham. They must have been picked alphabetically, I suppose. and there was a 4-man crew. I was the engineer, and Bill Moore was a real good. He was the coxswain, and he's theoretically the head of the crew. He was from Texas. He was a Bible reading. He was a heck of a nice guy. Great big guy, gentle, just a good guy. So
So now you had you're assigned to a diesel group.
yeah.
Group? How many of them were you again? 4 or 5?
Well, it was a 4-man crew,
4-man crew. Okay.
and
And what were your responsibilities?
well, we trained. We did amphibious maneuvers. We'd go out and rendezvous, they call it, and get all organized and everything. That's when you could talk to each other with semaphore, just to pass the time. And then when it came time to invade, somebody give the signal, we'd all head in a wave to the beach.
Hmm.
And this was a little Higgins boat built in Louisiana. We had gray marine diesel engines. And you drive right up on the beach, and you keep in gear all the time. Keep driving forward. Well, you gradually creep up higher and higher. And the disgrace was, if you didn't stay perpendicular to the beach, if you swung around like that and broached, that was really disgraceful.
Hmm.
So you drive forward and go up on the beach, and drop the ramp down, and unload. Well, we hauled troops, either Marines or soldiers that were in there for a week's training.
Mm-hmm.
And then you drop the ramp down, unload the troops, then you'd flip it into reverse and open her wide open, and that would wash the sand out from under you. So then you could back off the beach, and then you go back out and regroup or go get another.
So you were training them for landing on
It was an
other
amphibious.
islands, Iwo Jima, wherever maybe they
Oh,
were,
yeah.
Guam, where they were going to go then.
Yes, it was an amphibious training corps,
Okay,
and that's how they invaded all the islands in the Pacific.
interesting.
Was the amphibious wave, and
How many would they send at one time? Do you know? Like not more than one. You must. How many were?
wave going
Yeah.
in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I suppose that varied, but generally you'd have 6 or 8. I think.
Okay.
And,
Did they also carry artillery and jeeps and
no,
trucks?
we didn't.
You didn't. Okay.
Ours was too small for.
Okay.
It was a plywood
Mm-hmm.
Higgins boat built in Louisiana, built out of plywood. Although we had a steel ramp, I think, in front. We had Gray Marine diesels, I think, built by General Motors.
Hmm.
And
Well, they made PT boats out of
later
plywood
on,
too.
yeah, they were plywood P2 boats, I think.
Yeah.
They were plywood. That's what President Kennedy
Well,
was.
how would they hold together? You would think that they wouldn't take much of a beating. Were they stable or not?
Oh yeah,
They were.
Oh yeah, they were rigid. Yeah, strong. We might have been able to carry a Jeep, but I don't remember ever doing it.
Uh-huh.
And we had huts right on the beach. That's where we lived.
Okay.
And our hut was, I think we had 6 bunks and 6 double deck bunks in there. So our crew, our 4-man, and I think another 4-man crew. There were 2 crews to a hut.
Mm-hmm.
And you just run out the door and be in the ocean if you wanted to go play. While we were there, of course, at Waianae, there were mountains right over here.
Mm-hmm.
And we were allowed to check out guns and theoretically go hunting in the mountains.
Hmm.
And I never did. Some guys liked guns and they did that. But
What did you? When you said you lived in huts, did you have mess halls and recreation halls?
yeah, we had a big dining room that we went down
Okay.
to. And
What'd you do for R&R, recreation? And
well, we were in the outskirts of a very small town.
okay.
There was a railroad ran through, and across the railroad was the town of Waianae. They had a grocery store and a barber shop, and we'd go over and we'd go to the grocery store and buy little Vienna sausages because we couldn't get those. Well, I suppose the natives, everything was hauled into them. I suppose I imagine they resented that, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, there was a ladies' barber shop. We had barber shop on the base too. But the barber in Waianae was a lady barber. And so the sailors would all go over there so they could be touched by a lady barber. See? And we went to the local church there on Sundays. We had services too, but we went 7 times a week. We'd go over to their local church, and they sing such beautiful music, those Hawaiian ladies. Oh my, it was great. So while I was there, I can't remember, but somehow the office there lost a man, or I don't know. Anyhow, they had an opening for somebody could run a typewriter. So I got into the office, and there were 2 yeomen and a Chief Mansfield from Florida. He ran the office, and then our captain, I can't remember his name offhand. He was from St. Louis. He was a full lieutenant, but in the Navy, whoever's in charge is always captain. So our captain was from St. Louis, and we had the executive officer was, I don't know where he was from. But anyhow, so I got into the office, and of course I had a year and a half of college. I was ahead of a lot of the people, and I could run a typewriter. So they kept applying to change my rating from yeoman, or from motor machinist to yeoman. Well, that'd go down to St. Louis or Honolulu to the headquarters, and they said, no, we put this guy through diesel school. He's not going to be a yeoman. So they kept refusing. And it was only toward the very end of the war that I guess they didn't need motor machinists anymore. So they finally changed my rating, and I was discharged as a yeoman. You know. So while I was in the office over there, I got to see all the Navy bulletins and everything. So I read them all. And I thought, well, now here's a way I can get back to the States. You can make it apply for Navy Air Corps. So I filled out the papers, and that progressed along. Finally, they sent me to Barbers Point for physical to see if I'd qualify for Navy. Well, in those days, I weighed 110, and the minimum was 117 pounds. So I passed everything except the physical. So they called my commanding officer and says, hey, this kid passed everything, but he's too light. Can you put 7 pounds on him and send him back? So I went back, and the chow hall was real good to me. They fed me lots of stuff. And on the day I was to go back, I had to hitchhike. I think Barbers Point was, I don't know, something like 20 miles away. So I hitchhiked on the highway, and some Jeep would pick you up. And so I went back to Barbers Point for my re-exam. Well, I was still a couple of pounds light. And I'd been eating bananas and drinking water. I was busting with pee. And I still weighed in, I think, a pound or two light. But I think the guy kind of...
You think he put a finger on the scale?
I think he did. Anyhow, I qualified, and I was on the way back to the States. 2 days out of Seattle, the war ended. And the impression I had when I saw the land of Seattle coming into Seattle, you can't describe that feeling. I don't know how you describe it. Such a great, great sensation to see home, you know. So I got into Seattle.
Now, so you were out at sea when the war ended.
Yeah.
What was the reaction on board the ship? Was it a big party or what? Celebration?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
Okay. All right.
Well, in fact, I don't know how many of us were coming back, to tell you the truth. I just don't remember.
Well, now you saw the United States after how long had you been? This is 19 what?
Well, it was 2.5 or 3 years.
You were in Hawaii 2.5, 3 years?
Yeah. And so then they gave me, I think I still got my orders from San Francisco and went into Seattle. Maybe they shipped me down to San Francisco. I don't remember. Anyhow, I had 30 days to get from there to here. So I had 30 days. I came back to Ohio and saw my family. And came back, I guess on the train. But I had to, all that money came out of my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember getting into Dayton on the train. And I remember going to the bus station in Dayton, Greyhound station in Dayton, asking what time the next train was to get it to Greenville. And they said, we don't have any trains. Well, we got a bus going to Greenville. So I went into Greenville on the bus, and I think I called Dad. Gettysburg was 7 miles from Greenville. And I called Dad. He came up and got me and took me into Gettysburg, I think. remember when I first got home, man, Mom couldn't get over how much I'd eat. I just eat till I couldn't move.
Mhm.
I remember going to the Methodist church one night for a dinner in the basement. And I just eat and eat, and I eat slow anyway. So this went on and on and on. And they kept bringing me food. Well, that's pretty much. Then, and I had written to Delco to see if I still had my job.
But wait, but you're still in the Navy now, though. 30 days, you said they sent.
Oh, that's right.
You're
Yeah.
still in the Navy, so you had to
Yeah.
go back to where? San Francisco?
Went back to San Francisco, Treasure Island. And, oh yeah, well, I was still in the Navy. I was accepted for the Air Corps.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so they put me on a train and took me down to San Luis Obispo, which is I think an agricultural college. Well, down there is where I was to start my Air Force training,
Well, you were going to be trained for what?
Navy Air Force.
I mean, what, not a pilot or anything?
Oh,
No.
I don't know.
No, you don't know what it's about
No,
for,
no,
huh?
no. But anyhow, while I was there, they said, you got to sign up. To stay in this program, you got to sign up for 4 years. And I says, no way, I'm going home. So they sent me back to San Francisco, and that's where I was discharged from.
Okay.
So then,
And now you were discharged, so this is all taking place during 1945, 46 then?
yeah, 46.
46.
I was discharged, I think. And I always said I was in the Navy 3.5 years. So
Well, you got out of, what, around June?
I think, must have been the summer of 46.
Now, you're in San Francisco and you're discharged. How'd you get home? Remember, would you go by train, you hitchhike, they give you money, or what? Well, interesting enough is that some guys, they'd hitchhike, your cars or renting, wherever. But anyway, you came back to Ohio, right?
Yeah,
And you came back to Gettysburg
yeah,
with Mom and Dad.
yeah.
All right, did you have any girlfriends then or anything?
Well, my college girlfriend, I had a sweetheart in Flint, Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
Mary Ann Brozier, and we rode a lot. Somehow in one of her letters she said something I didn't like, so I asked her to give my class ring back. And so no, at that time I didn't have a girlfriend.
Now, so you're back home and you said you want to look for a job and you wrote your,
Well, I had written to Delco and told them that I was coming home and would I have a job, and they says, yes, you have a job. And I was still an engineering co-op student there. And I guess they were required by law to take you back, the way I remember. Delco, I don't think, had any options. They had to take me back, I think. So that fall, then, I started back to Flint, Michigan, and I finished up my degree in engineering.
so you got back, they sent you to school again?
Yeah,
Where'd you go to school? Back in Michigan or where?
Flint, Michigan. It was a co-op student.
Yeah.
I spent 2 months at Delco Products in Dayton working, and 2 months in Flint, Michigan, going to school. And I think that's GMI is now called Kettering University. Is its modern name now, and I think they still have engineering co-op students.
Your engineering degree was in what? Was it mechanical, electrical, what?
Industrial,
Industrial.
yeah.
And so then what happened when you graduated from there?
Well,
You go back to Delco or did you send you somewhere
I
else?
went back to Delco and I stayed there 20 years,
Hmm.
total of 20 years.
20 years.
And I was in supervision, and the unions were horrible in those days. And basically, I couldn't stand the union hassle because I was in management. So basically, I quit my job. 20 years with General
And
Motors.
where are you living then? You living still in Gettysburg or you in Dayton?
My home was Gettysburg, but I had a room in Dayton.
When did you get married? Was it during this period of time?
No, no. No, I didn't get married until after I got my degree.
Okay. So you're living in Dayton. Did you marry a girl from Dayton or Gettysburg?
Yeah, no, Dayton,
Dayton girl. And what year was that?
1961.
61? 51? You got out of service in 46, so you had 2, 3
I
more
graduated
years.
from college in 49.
Your wife's name was, who you married? What was her name?
Her name was Lee,
Lee,
Lee.
first name, or
That was her name, Lee Guernsey.
Lee what?
Guernsey?
Guernsey. So you got married then in around the early 50s?
51, yeah.
1951,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
And you're still living in Dayton.
yeah.
And then you stayed in management for 20 years with Delco, and then you quit.
hmm
What'd you do then?
Well, I went to the unemployment agency in Piqua,
Okay.
signed up there, and they saw a job in Springfield. I said, hey, I can do that. So I went to Springfield and hired on over there as a metallurgical lab technician.
What company?
That was
Monarch Tool?
no, that was Speco.
What is Seco?
Speco, S-P-E-C-O.
S-P.
It was
Well, did you move your family then to Springfield? Or where'd you stay living in those days? You remember?
we built a house in West Milton. I was living in West Milton, driving West Milton to Dayton and back,
Okay.
and then later West Milton to Springfield and back.
So you drove back and forth to Springfield?
Yeah, did that for 25 years.
Wow. Well, you was Speedco then 25 years.
Speco was sold out to Kelsey Hayes,
Mm-hmm.
and they were an automotive company. Then later on became a part of the Fruhoff Truck Company,
Mm-hmm.
and then later on some outfit in France. At Speco, it was an aerospace.
Mm.
We built helicopter transmissions, and Bell Helicopter in Fort Worth, Texas, and Vertol in Philadelphia was our big customers. Vertol's a division of Boeing,
Mm-hmm.
was then, still is. So we ran out of time.
No, we're fine.
Uh,
Well, now you're married. You're living in West Milton. How many children did you have?
I had a daughter by her, and then later on we had a divorce, and I married the girl across the street. She had 2 daughters, and then we had a son.
Okay.
So we had hers, mine, and ours.
Okay. Did any of those children go in the military?
No,
Okay.
no.
Well, now you spent with the other, and so you retired then from 2 jobs, one Delco and the other one from
I didn't retire from Delco, I just quit.
just quit.
Yeah.
But you had a retirement program, didn't you? I hope after 20 years.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't invested.
Wasn't okay.
Uh.
So now you spent 40 years plus in working engineer, then, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now, anything else you want to add? What happened from there on? And when you retired, what'd you do? You always stayed in this area, or what?
Yeah, always straight. One of the things I was proud of, at Speco, I went in, my degree was in industrial engineering. I went into the metallurgy lab and worked my way up. And then finally, when I retired, I was chief metallurgist.
Ooh,
And
congratulations.
so I'm proud of the fact that I was able to do my job well. Then my second marriage, married the lady across the street with her 2 daughters. Then we built a house. We built a house on the river in West Milton,
Mm-hmm.
4 acres on the Stillwater. We built a house there. That was an electric heat house in the middle 60s when that was a big thing, you know.
Mhm.
And we lived there until we moved here. I sold that house to my son,
Okay.
and so my son lives there now. He works for Honda in Mary's, in Anna, Ohio.
Then you moved here to Springmead Retirement Center.
Yeah.
Now, how you like it here?
Yeah, I like it. It's great.
Good.
We moved in relatively early compared with what the age of most of the people coming in. I said, I want to get moved so that I live at home when I die. This will be my home. And so many people come in when they're on their last legs.
Too late then. Well, is there anything else, Leroy, you'd like to add to your DVD?
I think we've covered it.
Well, it's really been a joy talking to you. It's been fun.
So
We
much
enjoyed
again.
it.
I didn't realize how much I'd forgotten.
Well, you've got a lot of years there. You work on them. But we want to thank you for your service on behalf of the Library of Congress Veterans History Project, the Miami County Veterans History Project, and American Legion Post 43. Thank you for your service.
Well, I appreciate this very much, and I thank you. It's been great.